Hi everyone, welcome again to Life in F-Stop. Today we are diving into a story behind an incredible photograph. And for that we are joined by Stefano Pellegrini, a designer and a photographer from Milano. His work is unique because he mostly captures the real night sky, carefully planning his photos so the Milky Way shines alongside the landscape. Stefano has worked with various brands and today he'll share his journey with us. Stefano, welcome and thank you for accepting to share your story with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Stefano, I want to start by asking you the first question. When did you started with photography?
So, actually, photography was always something that interested me, as well as like traveling. So, in the past, I mostly went around just as a tourist and taking pictures just like a tourist. So, with a compact camera or with a APS-C, just trying to make single exposures, simple pictures, also shooting in JPEG. So I started like that, and I spent a lot of my grown up years just shooting like that. I started trying to shoot more like a pro, let me say, deep diving more in how you can achieve good photos just in 2019 because I discovered Instagram and I discovered other photographers that were able to create unique pictures, like Fabio Antenore, that is from Switzerland. And once I discovered that, to like achieve something similar and without uh, taking any lesson or something like that. I just tried and tried and tried, uh, trying to find my workflow, trying to find uh, how to do what I wanted to do. That was simple as that. I wanted just to uh, frame reality in the way I saw it. So, especially by night, especially the Milky Way, uh, what I was searching was to like frame what I had in my eyes and in my mind when I was in a location. So I'm starting to like search good, interesting spot and place where the Milky Way was aligned with an interesting subject. And especially what I was super interesting in was the idea of framing on planet Earth something that was out of this world. And this is what interested me of Fabian Tenore, because I discovered the existence of Dolomites in a way that I was not usual to see them. So, like night frame of this Milky Way exploding over these strange rocks and something like that. And this is what made me start shooting in 2019.
That's interesting and very nice because you said that you also learned everything by yourself by exploring, maybe sometimes a tutorial on YouTube or just exploring yourself the options that camera and also like uh, softwares like Photoshop or Lightroom has. And that's really interesting. And when you start like learning new things, you become more and more interested every day in that. So we know that photography has different kind of categories. So why do you like more landscape?
Oh, again, and also to answer to your not specific asked question about how I learned the thing. The main reason behind all of it is that, as you said, I'm a designer. I worked 7 years as a manager in di Saronno, the liquor, and I was in charge both as the designer for the graphics and so on, both to create new packaging and to be an art director in the shootings with Vogue or the TVC and so on. And so I was able to fake reality on Photoshop. It was my job to like take pictures from different places and merge them together and so on. On the other side, I always been interested in moving around, traveling, and see new places and so on. So I was 100% sure that if I wanted to create something from scratch that was fake, I was able to do it. So I wanted to do I wanted my photography not to do something like that. I wanted to frame reality because being able to fake it, I knew that I didn't want to do it. I wanted to make something real. So, uh, what I wanted to do was to make landscape photography because it was what I was interested to. So, moving around, go around the world and framing new location, framing different place from where I grew up. So this was the first thing. This was why I wanted to frame landscapes, and on the other hand, I wanted to create something real because I was able already to fake it, and I wanted the real thing. And also in terms of how I was able to create my workflow, it was something like between what I already was doing for work, so graphic design and Photoshop just for uh, that reason,
Mhm.
and just a little bit of internet and YouTube learning about how to actually use the camera because yeah, I had it in my hand in my hands when I was around the world before without knowing the full potential of the thing, but I just needed the last kick to actually use it in the right way, and that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have seen your work on Instagram, and I can say that it's your photographs are really amazing, and especially the ones that you do in night at night with the Milky Ways, and those landscapes are really breathtaking. And thank you very much for sending one of your beautiful photographs, which I will share it now, and then we will dive deep more into that picture and the history behind that photo. So let me just share the screen and you can let me know once you see the image. So can you see
Yeah,
the image
yeah,
now?
yeah, I see it.
Okay, great. So can you tell us where and when was this photo taken?
So this picture is from uh, July of 2023. I was in Cincinnati for 3 months working in a company that printed labels for liquors, and I was there just as a consultant. And being there for 3 months, I decided that at least a week I had to like go around and taking pictures of the night sky. Also, being in US, I knew that there were a lot of dark places, so I wanted to do so. And so one week I just flew to Utah, that is one of my favorite location in US, and I went to Arches National Park. I already been in Monument Valley a couple of times in the past, but I never been in in Arches before that period, and so I just search a lot on internet, on Instagram, to search for interesting location. And one location that I discovered that was super cool was this place that it's called Double Arch, and it's
Hmm.
like a cave with two entrances that are two big arches and no ceiling. So the three spaces that you see here are actually the two arches and the ceiling. And once I was there in the afternoon, just making a location scouting, I discovered that all the picture that I saw from that location were not giving justice to the actual dimension, the actual uh, uh, rock formation. And so I decided there, when I was there in the afternoon, that I had to make a bigger panel, uh, bigger than what I was planning when I was just in front of my computer at home in Cincinnati, because I wanted to show more the location. And so I did. And I planned with photo pills, searching for the perfect moment to shoot there, to have the Milky Way in the picture in an interesting way. So in my head, an interesting way was having it at least in two of the three holes of the view that I had there. And also, I wanted to put my figure in the picture. That is something that I do very often,
So
and I
this is
wanted
you here
to.
in the picture.
Yeah, yeah, it's me. And I wanted to make some light painting because it's something that also I like very much to do in my picture. And there was a problem there because in Utah, in Arches, it was illegal to do uh, light paintings to because it
Hmm.
disturbs the night sky. So I had to plan the picture, shoot the Milky Way during nighttime at the correct time, and then leaving the camera on the tripod. I had to stay there, sleep on the rock, and wait for the blue hour to make the foreground and the light painting without disturbing the night sky for the rangers, let me say. So it was very difficult to plan it, and much more difficult to achieve, both on location and both in editing, because it's almost not a 360, it's almost a sphere panorama. It's huge. It's almost everything you can see
Yeah.
from the spot I put the tripod on.
Yeah, it looks the image itself like it looks very huge, and we are now going to go and dive deep into the process how you did it. But this is definitely not a standalone one image, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't
So
remember exactly how many picture they are, but it's a lot of them.
So
And
to have these kind of results, do you use like something to install in your camera that does that automatically, like moving around, like a panorama?
no, no, it's all handmade. Also, uh, I was flying in coach, and there are a strict regulation in US if you use cheap uh, sky cheap airlines. So using a cheap airline, I had to bring very few things with me. I had like just a couple of underwear, and I had to bring my tripod under my hoodie to not show it because it was outside the regulation in terms of
Hmm.
dimensions. And I
Okay.
had just the camera and the lenses, and I had to do everything by hand. And I had to do everything by hand, and that I had to make the all the different exposure perfectly aligned to be able to merge it correctly together. So it was pretty difficult to achieve.
This is really amazing work. Congratulations on this shot. It's really perfect. It's really great. Now I'm going to share the other document that you shared with us, and we're going to dive deep into the post processing and how this beautiful photograph came to life. Let me share now the other document that you sent me. So it seems like it's really challenging going to these kind of places, and especially like this, taking these kind of images. Like you said, you had to stay maybe one night and sleep there.
Yeah, but
It's not too easy.
it's something that I do very often, and I have to say here it's a national park. It's not so out of reach. I've done in past more challenging things like sleeping on the snow below zero in the middle of the mountains alone, or in the middle of the desert in Africa with just uh, animals and no person around. So this was challenging, but not the worst thing I've done, let me say.
This is also an amazing land. Where did this was probably in Dolomites, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Look,
This is Dolomites, and this is also a
you are also
panorama.
here, right?
Yeah,
On
and
the,
I am on the mountain there, and
did
I
you
had to
climb
go there.
here?
Sorry?
Did you climb here?
Yeah, no, no, I didn't climb from the bottom of the mountain. I crawled on the hedge here, there where I'm standing.
Of this road?
Yeah, yeah,
This is very dangerous.
yeah. It is.
You have to be brave to come here and stay.
Or stupid. It depends.
So this is like something about that you explain in Italian
Yeah, that is just about myself in Italian.
about you, and then we
This
have
is my aim, yeah, and this is the picture.
your picture here, and again we have
This is
making of
I
this
was.
picture. So
This is exactly how it was made and
so
describes.
if we see here, we have one, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have in total 15 images, right? The way I understand.
No, it's more difficult. Let me say, this is how it was made. So I had to plan it as a big panorama made in 5 rows, no, 5 columns and
Hmm.
3 rows. So I
Yeah.
had to imagine that to obtain all the uh, panorama that I wanted to frame, I had to move the camera in that direction. So
Hmm.
frame 5 columns and 3 rows for each column. And then I had the problem that I, for each of these, let me say, frames, I had to make different exposures. So one exposure for the sky, one exposure for the foreground, and one
Hmm.
exposure for the light painting. Also, for each frame of the sky, I had to make five pictures because to make to have less noise in the sky, I usually do a stacking of 5 picture at 13 seconds. So as you can imagine, the final amount of picture is more than just 15 picture. It was
Hmm.
15 picture uh, multiplied for even more pictures. So
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
understand.
picture. And the first problem there was to plan it correctly, because if you have to do this amount of pictures, you have to be sure that when you wrap up everything and you start getting back to go home, you have everything. Because if you just forget one picture,
Yeah.
you have a hole in your final panorama. So I had to be sure to go strictly on the route that I planned before arriving there, and frame everything that I planned to frame. And if you go ahead, we can see what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. So,
I'm going
uh,
ahead with the other
first
page.
of all, the sky, what I said before in
Mhm.
terms of uh, the the rows and the columns and so on, the actual picture that I had to make was actually 2 rows of 6 images, and each of the six image was a stacking of 5 picture to have less noise and more information of the sky. And these are all the pieces. And
Yeah.
if you go ahead, you can see the same kind of framing, because I had
Yes.
to not move the camera to be able to uh, align everything perfectly. And
Hmm.
this is the same exact picture, plus a row, because the foreground row, it was not needed for the sky, so I decided to not do it. But these are the same picture plus a row just for the foreground, that was made at the blue hour. And as I said, the first 2 rows were exactly the same framing of the sky, plus another row that was just the foreground. I tilted the camera to the ground and I framed just the foreground.
So to edit all these images that we see here, you used Photoshop or something else?
Oh, and first of all, there is another slide for the last piece of this framing, because I had to frame also the light painting. So
This one.
again, if you see, they are all the same framing. So for
Yeah.
the light painting, I needed just these pictures. So I I was not. I didn't need to do all the other picture, but if you see this only 4 picture can align perfectly on all the others. And this is was what that was my missing piece to finish everything. And after that, I was able to wrap up and go home with all my pieces. And what I had is in the next slide.
So here we have in total probably you had 90 photos, right?
Yeah, in total we had 90
Which is
photos
a lot.
that were 15 photos for just the foreground, 60 just for the sky, and 12 for the light painting. Because each
That's a
frame
lot.
that you see is always a stacking of something. So even if we saw just 4 picture for
Mhm.
the light painting, it was actually more picture that I had to blend together to have all the pieces lightening up, because it was a big place. So I had to lighting up small pieces of rocks and then merge everything together. And then what I had to do was, first of all, just uh, edit it in roughly in Lightroom, then
Yes.
make a stacking in Photoshop for the foreground and the light painting, and make a stacking for the sky in um, Sequator. Then, when I had all my pieces, that in the end were just 17, but were actually much more picture just merged together.
Mhm.
I put everything in uh, PT Guy, that is a panorama editor,
Yes, for
and
the
this,
creating the panorama view.
yeah, yeah, and PT Guy was able to take all my pieces, align it perfectly, and give me a rough alignment of all my pieces. And this is what actually looked like. So as I said,
Hmm.
it's almost a sphere. It's not
Yeah.
the usual panorama that is like on an horizontal picture. It was more like a sphere. And when I had that, I exported it in PSD, and I started to work on it in Photoshop. And I don't know, and we don't have here the
Yeah. Okay. So here you also do some other services or tutorials, right?
yeah, in even if it's not my main business, because I'm a
Okay.
designer. A lot of my followers ask to learn how I do what I do, and to learn my workflow and so on. So I started recently to make tutorials and sell it online, and I do it both in Italian and in English. And yeah, it's something that you can find on my website.
This is very nice. So who whoever wants to learn this kind of photography, uh, you can contact Stefano on his website that you see here, and I will put the Instagram where you can also follow Stefano and see his amazing work. Stefano, this is really a brilliant job and really a lot of work for one image only at the end.
Yeah, it was, but again, it's if you are following something that is in your head, you cannot like stop till you achieve it. So I remember I was there in the afternoon, and looking through photo pills, looking at this huge location through photo pills. I saw what I was able to bring home from that place, and I knew that I had to do it. And even if it was like, I don't know, 9 hours by night, and I think more than 9 hours of editing, I needed to frame exactly what I saw when I was there. And I knew that I was able to do it, not because I have a big ego, but because I knew that there was a way to do it. So I had to find a way and do it, and that what I was able to achieve.
This is incredible, really amazing job. I just wanted also to ask you what kind of camera and uh, what lens have you used to photograph all these images that you have combined then at the end? Which lens you
So
have used?
yeah, so I was there with a very cheap tripod, but with my Nikon D85 50, and as a lens I was with my Tamron 1530 2.8.
It's really nice. Tamron has some really great lenses. I have some of them, so they do really great job, and you have really great results with them. Stefano, has this photo have been published in like newspapers or magazines, or because I'm sure your work has been published around the magazines, but maybe in particular this one.
Not this one. I had the honor to be choose for an APOD from NASA 3 times, and
Oh,
to be
that's amazing.
published sometimes, but not with the picture. This picture is not. Never won anything. I like it because I like it, not because won something. Let me say.
No, I mean the picture is amazing, and this is one of your incredible work. This is one piece of your incredible work that you have uh, online, published in your own portfolio, where people can also look and follow your work. And I thank you very much for sharing your incredible story. It was really nice hearing it, and it was really inspiring because not a lot of people go outside, maybe wait for a day and sleep in the rocks, go like hiking in very narrow uh, places, like the picture that we saw earlier. So it's a really amazing job. I mean, and it seems that you really have passion about it, and you also have really amazing results at the end.
Thank you very much.
So you can follow Stefano on social media, and I thank you very much for viewing this video. And until next time.